sure, you know, we'll help you. And then you become interested in each other.
Yes. And the student is always assessing you as much as you are assessing the student.
I think the other big thing that most organizations lack is knowledge management. I'm not talking knowledge in the IT systems and all that. You know, you have people who have been partners for many years.
When they leave, they take...
And there's a lot of knowledge. How do they share their experiences back with the rest of the firm? Even that, I don't know, I'm talking, take any organization for that matter, as they go up, there are lots of experiences to be shared. So I know now in KPMG International have started one thing where they call the legacy program, where they're getting all of us to come and they're interviewing us and they're telling us, okay, come with the most difficult situation you faced in your life. And they're going through it with academics, we've got a university who's helping us with all this. And they're putting it all down and then going to videotape you. And these are going to be then, you know, onto our channel or whatever, where people can see and learn. Okay, this guy had, without naming the client, it's all white labeled, but this was the situation he had. How did he deal with it? What were the learnings? How did you convert a difficult situation into what were those few things you did at that time, and also failures? Because there is, in my view, there are lots more learning out of failures and out of success.
Absolutely.
There's huge amount of this thing. So they want a successful case, which was a bad case converted, a bad case which failed, and why it failed. So I think even we don't honestly spread that out also. I mean, across all.
So maybe this is corporate social responsibility, take it as, or long-term self-interest, take it as, or whatever it is. This has to start happening, you know.
I was just talking to one guy who was a CEO of a very large multinational in India, very large company actually, and he's saying, you know, the funny part today, he's saying, I'm 45 or whatever his age was, 44, 45. He says, now there's no job for me because he said, I've got Ivy League degree, I've got everything there, but there's no job. So I think there are many like me. Now people don't want us. So there is a complete this thing that is happening now in this whole society where people want younger people. They want so anybody who crosses a particular age, and if he's not been able to plan his career properly, can be. So I think it's important that people also learn how, you asked about career planning and everything else. How do they plan out their career? Because the burnout rate is so fast. And you could
Or it could be a mid-career switch. In the 40s, I see a lot of people switching into completely radically different.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's a career choice. Yeah. Like somebody is saying, I don't want to now work for anybody, I want to do something on my own, entrepreneurship bites you, and you go and do something which is different, and which you can succeed.
We did a very interesting experiment a few years ago, maybe about 3-4 years ago, where in the retail sector, we called the retail, we knew there was a career crunch and a skills crunch, and we called a lot of experts and we said, if you were to identify the 5 skills that you want in retail, and we said, which level do you have your maximum skills crunch in? What we found was that the entry level, the walk-in level, they didn't have a problem. The top management, the management schools cater to it, they didn't have a problem. But that middle operational level, which your entire business relies on, was where the maximum challenges were. So what we did was, we had at that time we had a academic institution, Lady Irwin College of Delhi University, which is a school of home sciences. What was relegated as home sciences was actually what Parijat is looking for. These are inventory management, resource management, procurement, people management, facilities. They were taught chemicals, they were taught facilities. So we said, okay, you are probably very ready for the industry, so how can we take it to the next level? These students, what we've evolved is a 4 certificate module with them, where the academia worked with us, we interface with the industry, and we put together those skills that were missing in the operational levels. So that when these students graduate, they were undergrads, these are credit courses, there is no compulsion to take it, but the ones who are interested are taking it. And the format was not educational. The format was that they, in the classroom, experts like yourselves were coming and sharing exactly what you said. What you're doing in your daily life, your failures as well as your successes, and ask the students to find the solution. You spend about half that time telling the students that you did it this way, we did it this way, maybe both are right, but you know, these are the solutions that come out. So what you've done is you haven't actually taken them on as interns, but you've been able to align them to the business thought processes. After 4 certificate modules, the UGC approved diploma comes to you. So when you graduate with a vanilla degree, you're also graduating with a diploma, which is making you industry ready. The industry understands that we have already partnered with them. This was just a small experiment, and we've been running it since 2009. It's 2007. It's working fairly well. Students are getting placed. Students are happy. We are happy. But more than that, actually, what you need to do, the larger point that I'm making is, you know what your skill gaps are. You know where the solutions are. And these solutions are not difficult, but you need to participate. You need to go to the academic institutions. You need to spend that one day in a month to spend with your students so that they become industry ready.
I literally just, when you say this, even going is now not necessary with
you can even
technology
sit in your,
being available. Now you can on Skype, you can connect, or say 1 hour every Saturday, or 2 hours every alternate Saturday, or 4 hours once a month on first Saturday or last Saturday, whichever is convenient. If we are in touch, that can be posted, students can be informed, they will be available in the classroom, in a computer lab, hearing you, talking to you, raising questions, talking about their projects, talking about the issues that they have, finding solutions, which kind of solutions the academic fraternity will not be able to provide.
And only you can provide. You're handling it day after day, you're struggling with those solutions. And you know that actually what was needed was one small tweak. And if the student understands that tweak before he enters the workforce, he...
In fact, Jayashree, just on a slightly different tangent, we are in discussions with IIT Delhi because we take undergraduates, BTechs, and but then to retain them, they go for higher studies, which is MTech, or they go into these schools. So we are in discussion with them, and there are certain courses which we want to put included in their MTech course, credit courses, and that they can do. We hire basically civil engineers, electrical engineers, and mechanical engineers, which is a dirt because they all go to ICs. That's the thing, and we want to hire hardcore. So we are in discussions with them, and they do for other organizations like L&T and other brands. So I think that will work out well because then that is a collaboration between the industry and the academic. And that is how the next generation can be really productive, and from the day one, that is what we are expecting, that they go to the clients and they deliver the solutions. So that's an initiative which an organizations are taking, forward thinking is happening.
I think we have already started taking that. As you mentioned that we went to Jaipuria and we realized that the picking up, so probably Sharda could be the next one. But we're doing it with Kurukshetra University, we're doing this with Jaipuria. And we're getting a good number of talents from there. So now I think
we are thinking of starting this kind of sandwich process. Take a BTech student, he starts working at your place, you give him a target, we allow him the time, a part of it he will complete with us in terms of vocational knowledge component, and the industry component will be delivered by you. You will give the rating, we'll accept that rating and give him a final degree based on what you have certified and what our the content part of it in terms of conceptual and theoretical listing has been given. So theoretical listing has been brought down quite substantially, and that space has been vacated for you to conduct actual on-the-job training. And then he gets an MTech 2 years down the line. He stays because he cannot change in that period. He learns also, and he gets an MTech degree also. And is far better suited. So we are ready for all these kind of options. This is the only way forward. There's no other way forward.
Many of the places has already started. I think SCL has opened up SCL labs in many of the engineering colleges. Accenture has opened up. So they kind of partially adopted the universities or the institutions, and they kind of let students to spend almost 25 to 30% of time in their lab on their product. So what it happens with the time, either they come excellent, they hire them. Even if they're not, the next year companies end up hiring them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's a full employment.
So Capgemini is also doing that.
Basic thing here also was that, like we said, most of us hiring from the IITs and IIMs, and there is ready packages come in, but they're not always ready with regards to the other stuff.
We don't go to IITs and
So that's where we were coming from, because that requires less time and TAT. This requires a little more investment from the industry, and actually you can fill
But the solutions are long
solutions are long term.
So you kind of customize your product in advance. So rather than assessing them after 4 years, so you put them and inculcate those skills before, and then you assess that fine. So either they are fit to you, if not, definitely they are fit to the next level.
It's a very dangerous area, because then you know, the aspirations of IITians and the packages and this kind of a talent coming in, actually you can get talent pool at much lower.
But,
Yes.
yeah,
So I mean, there will be a reality check happening if industry actually.
Because the candidates are actually assessing you. We find that the candidates are constantly, you know, we started something called Job Buzz. Job Buzz is where if you worked in a certain company, you can, it's very similar to the Glassdoor concept.
Right.
You can actually come to the Times Jobs website and you can rate your companies, what was it that you liked, what was it that you didn't like. They may say consulting, I love the passion, the excitement, the energy, and didn't like the work-life balance, which is fine. And we don't allow ranting. So there is some amount of moderation, but it is, and we find that the candidates, the people who are there, are constantly checking you out in the social media, like you're checking out your employees. One of the things that we find is that they like the jobs to be articulated. As, like you said, it is a generation Y, Z, whatever you would like to call them, but their aspirations are very different from what it was 5 years ago. Today, when you actually evolve a JD for a consulting post, how qualitative is the shift in the articulation of that JD, because you are reaching out to a different generation now.
Extremely, and it works both ways. Right. Because it's not just about them understanding what we expect from them, it's also about us putting down an expectation in terms of here are the areas that you're going to be accountable for.
Right.
And guess what, when it comes to the metrics, these are the threshold limits, or these are the standards that we're looking for in you.
Sure.
So it actually is, it's important for both sides to have that clarity right at the beginning.
Agreed. In fact, like more and more candidates are saying that, you know, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm an open book, and are you a company which is open to me also to understand you more? And hearing that from
No, they do. Even before joining the organization, during the even before they go for an interview, there has been tendencies which has been seen among the people. They end up checking, you know, like
Absolutely.
and directly asking that, you know, like I've got a call from so and so company. So how's it? How do you recommend? So companies are also making sure that when somebody is exiting from the organization, they go with the good note. They go with the proper exit processes. So they don't go out and dilute your brand, right? They don't bar you with getting another good like resource in the future. So both ways. It's just like every individual need a good references from their previous organization. So the organizations also need a good references from their existing past people.
No,
it has become.
Hardly anybody comes to you for an interview without checking you
Without
out.
checking.
Oh, no, nobody comes without.
Absolutely.
And the role.
And they do a Google search and they know everything about it. I don't know why.
You will receive a LinkedIn invite even before he comes for the interview.
Yes.
Suppose when he's meeting you, he'll first send an LinkedIn invite.
I think the one other point when you said that where academics and the industry can come together, I think if you're able to marry these two in some constructive way, I think the learning of the individual also becomes better. Because when he's working on the job, what he learns, the academic, he's able to see what he's learning. It's just not bookish.
Put it into
In
perspective.
Yeah, because then when somebody's telling him, he's actually seen, okay, this is the way it actually operates in real. And so he's learning for the sake of learning and not for the sake of mugging or, just...
For the sake of passing exams.
Yeah, for passing the
Studying
exams.
for passing the exam.
But this is learning for the sake of
studying
learning.
for learning and putting the learning to practice.
What he would say, okay,
This
this
is
is
how
the way I did it in
stepwise
practice.
practice.
Oh, if I had done it this way, it would have been better, because then he would learn the right way. And the qualitative student comes out much better, I should say. And we should do it earlier, not at the end. So generally what happens,
that's where the challenge is.
that's where the challenge comes.
Another interesting part I like to put it, the people have not only become organization specific, they've also become a manager specific.
Yes.
So many of the time they'll say, I'm interested for the company, but whom this is going to report to whom?
And
you
you check
take a gentleman name and say, no, I'm not interested for this role.
Which is
If it comes to someone else, then I will be interested.
which is not a right tendency, actually, if you were to ask me. And I'll use a Big Four example now, Richard.
Yeah, sure.
During my PwC days, I met this very bright and feisty lady from EY, and she was a transfer pricing specialist, great persona, very articulate, etc. And we finished the interview, I explained the role to her, and then she said, whom does the position report into? And I took a certain gentleman's name, and she said, you know what, I would like to do a ref check on that. That gentleman is a partner now. Possibly I'll tell you offline. But I was, I just couldn't know how. I was kind of flummoxed. Let me put it this way. And I had to counsel her in a very diplomatic.
Thank God she didn't take out a thing and start.
Because I had to counsel her very appropriately that look, that person has a certain sense of gravitas to begin with. He is leading a team because he has demonstrated the ability to do so, and this position does report to him. And maybe you're not the right candidate for the team. But. I've never had that experience ever again.
But it's a cliche, but it's absolutely true that people leave companies only because they're unhappy with their manager. It's not really.
And nobody leaves in your office.
And the converse is also true. They will join the company. Well, they will first find out who their manager is going to be, and then accordingly.
I don't agree actually.
It is a little overboard. You haven't even interacted with the manager, or you know him through a colleague who's worked with him.
Or you know him from social
Tagging
media.
him even before it's
Now they can know them from social media.
I agree that, if you work with somebody, you know the organization and they're transferring you internally naturally to another team manager and you know how he operates, then I can understand that. You, in an interview and you're saying that I ref checked him.
So LinkedIn has started endorsing
I know
you.
who is more influential. It's you or